everyone, and welcome to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show. I have some amazing things to talk about this week because, well, it is a small week for Final Order Cutoff. There are some brilliant titles on it, and we have an amazing special guest, a legendary writer who's worked for every single major publisher out there. So tune in after this intro. Hi everyone, I'm Mathias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you. And today we're dealing with comics on Final Order Cutoff Monday, September 29th. Some fun ones on the FOC this week, right, Kyle?
There are. I mean, just several that I have a personal connection to this week on FOC. So that's always exciting.
Yeah. But to remind everyone, if you want to follow along at home and see all of the comics on Final Order Cutoff this week, there are 2 major websites to do this on. PRHcomics.com is going to have everything from Penguin Random House, one of the major distributors in North America, if not worldwide. There you'll find books from Marvel, Distillery, IDW, Dark Horse, Boom, and more. But if you want to see the other end, you're going to want to check out lunardistribution.com. Lunardistribution.com is going to have everything from DC, Image, Oni, Dynamite, and many other publishers. So between these 2 websites that are going to be great little websites you can see going right through here, prhcomics.com instantly presents you with its FOC. You can see right here, clicking there will get you this wonderfully detailed page that has absolutely all the books that Penguin Random House is offering on FOC this Monday. And you can always make sure you're on the right date there. Meanwhile, lunardistribution.com will put you on a front page like this. You'll scroll down a small amount to upcoming FOC and make sure you're on the right date. Easy way to view all these amazing comics on FOC, but we're going to talk about some of the big ones and the best ones after we interview a very amazing guest. Because I have a writer who has been published by every major comic publisher. Greg Pak is the hit author of Planet Hulk, of Darth Vader, Mech Cadet U, Lawful, and so much more. And he is here today to talk to you about a number of books on FOC.
Greg actually wrote the very first book I ever bought my niece
Really?
as part of a Kickstarter with a nerdcore musician named Jonathan Colton, The Princess Who Saved Herself. So it's one of those things that Greg was creating new comic readers in my own family at one point. So that's pretty great. Let's bring him on. I messed up the flow. My bad.
No, well, you messed up the flow in order to compliment me, so I appreciate it very much. That's thanks so much for having me on, you guys. This is awesome. The that rundown you just gave of how to pre-order comics and everything was fantastic. Complicated process. You guys make it easy. So thumbs up. And thanks for having me today.
No, thank you. That is one of our goals always, is to make it so that everyone watching can reach out to their local retailer and place orders for the books they want to assure they get the books they want. But
Fantastic.
on that note, we've got a number. I mean, it's amazing because you're just such a prolific writer. You have had a number of books on almost every FOC over the past month, including this week and next week. But the big one, as issue number 4 of Death of Silver Surfer just dropped this past Wednesday, we have the FOC for number 5 on Monday. And issue number 4 had a major moment in it. This has been a brilliant book, but can you talk a little bit about what happened in issue number 4?
Yeah, well, a lot of things went down, but basically the storyline follows our hero Norrin Rad as he confronts a couple of antagonists. One of whom is the person you see on this cover for number 5, Kelly Coe, who is the star agent of BAN, the Bureau of Alien Neutralization. So her job has been to kick kick extraterrestrials off of planet Earth, track them down and kick them out. And so she's really an antagonist. I think she's a lot of fun. She's a character you can kind of hate and love at the same time. But she's been struggling with her duties over the course of the storyline, realizing that the boss she serves is considerably less virtuous than she ever imagined, and has been forced into a reluctant partnership with Norrin Rad and the Fantastic Four and the Warbound, the Hulk's Warbound from back in the day. So in these big events of issue number 4, she has been touched by the Surfer's power cosmic and she's gone chrome. Her shield has become a board. And this is just this tremendous design from our brilliant artist Sumit Kumar, and now we've got this kind of dangerous, cocky, less morally upright individual taking on the role of Silver Surfer than our tried and true buddy Norrin. So it's a new era, a new, more dangerous era, and a new, more morally fraught era. I like the fact that Norrin has always been kind of Marvel's philosopher of the Star Ways, and is always kind of tortured by conflicts and morality and existential questions. I love that about his character. It's this kind of opera. Kelly's she's a little more rock and roll than opera, and brings a different vibe to it. I mean, at the same time, she's struggling with these same kind of questions of, I mean, it's a classic Marvel question of what your responsibilities are when you have this much power, but it's amped to the fullest. I mean, the Silver Surfer is arguably Marvel's most powerful superhero, and so now you've got this person who has been on the wrong side of things suddenly taking on this power, and we'll see if she's ready to step up, or how dangerous is she going to be to not only villains but also heroes. Norrin had a little bit of an ability to step back sometimes and to kind of let humanity do its thing, and Kelly may be a little less patient with us, so keep your eyes open.
And I gotta say, I mean, Kelly really has stolen the show for me. I have fallen in love with Kelly over the last 4 issues. I mean, she's kind of the best of the best. Former agent, former sword, now with BAN. But was issue number 1 of Death of Silver Surfer her first appearance? Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah. We introduced her specifically for this. We talked about, we knew that there was going to be this role for a character, and we talked about some pre-existing characters, but this just felt like a great place to introduce somebody new, and raise the stakes that way. I mean, if you there is a kind of a thing where if you slot somebody who is already established into that role, I mean, it's a little bit more of a tip off that things will revert at some point in a way. You know what I mean? Like characters tend to revert to form. So it's nice to be able to introduce somebody brand new and like all those options are wide open. You know what I mean? Like things can actually change for this character in major ways. And Also, I wanted to have somebody who was morally compromised and grappling with that. Also, I wanted to introduce her mom. That was a big part of it. She's
Her mom might be my favorite character.
sometimes in comics, I mean, like we all like every hero seems to be an orphan, right? And that's certainly a classic thing. But from Bambi onward, I mean, it goes back much further than Bambi. But with Kelly, I just like when you've got a big character grappling with these cosmic things, you need to ground them in a real way. And I just thought like that mother-daughter thing would be a little bit more interesting route to take than, say, a romantic relationship or something like that at this point. I think it's fun when you have also sort of self-styled badass characters who have a real soft spot for their mom. So that's been fun.
All right. So Death of Silver Surfer #5 is on FOC this Monday, and it
Yes.
released October 29th. I
Yes.
have to ask this. I don't know if you can answer it, but the title is The Death of Silver Surfer. Are we going to see the Silver Surfer die?
You're gonna see a big changes, and a huge climactic event in Norin Rad's life. I mean, it is called Death of the Silver Surfer, so exactly what happens, I'm not going to say, but it's earned, I think, and I mean, if folks have been reading me for a long time, I love this guy. I had the chance to use him in Planet Hulk back in the day, my first really, really big Marvel ongoing series, and I love him to pieces. And so, I'm not. I wanted to make sure that this did him justice, and I think it does. So I hope y'all enjoy it.
All right. The first 4 issues are on stands now. You should reach out to your local comic shop to see if you can catch up. If you can't, the trade paperback will be out April 7th. Sorry, April 7th of next year. It FOCs in late October. All the more reason to reach out to your store, make sure you are getting this book, and pre-order the big finale, issue 5, before Monday. Now, as I mentioned, you've also had some other really great books recently on FOC. You mentioned the Warbound, so I have to go back to
Yeah.
the Return to Planet Hulk. Can you tell us a little bit about this amazing one shot?
Yeah, well, we kind of blinked and realized, holy cats, it's been 20 years since the original Planet Hulk saga began. And I talked to Mark Paniccia, who was my original editor on that, and he got a special approved. So we're doing this 20-year celebration. It's an oversized book, not physically oversized. It's not larger page size, but more pages than usual when I say oversized. And it's an untold chapter that slots right into the original Planet Hulk saga. So so the story began with issue 92. This takes place right after that first story arc, so it takes place right after the Hulk and the Warbound and the gladiators of the Great Arena have escaped. They've destroyed the Great Arena and escaped the Red King's tyranny. But they're on the run. They've entered the Twisted Wood, and this is kind of a frontier moment, a moment of crisis for the Hulk, as he starts to grapple with the notion that these people actually think he's a hero. This is a guy who was exiled from Earth as a monster and has always kind of hated himself, thought of himself that way, even as he denies it. But now these people are looking up to him and kind of expecting stuff that makes him scared for himself. I think Banner and the Hulk have always thought of the Hulk as a terrifying, dangerous entity that destroys people's lives, and so the Hulk is grappling with what it means to be thought of as a hero. He tries to escape it. I'll say that much. And you're going to get never before seen encounter with or deeper encounter with a community of entities on planet Sakaar that we didn't have space to explore as deeply in the original saga. And you're going to see a side of the Hulk that you've never seen on planet Sakaar. So I hope you enjoy it. It's drawn by Carlo Pagulayan, who did that, who was the first artist on Planet Hulk, the swing artist and he and Aaron Lopresti drew the whole thing. But Carlo came back to draw this. Chris Sotomayor is coloring it. Who is the original colorist for Planet Hulk, and Joe Caramagna is back to letter. Joe also lettered a bunch of that, as well as I think Joe also. That was Joe in World War Hulk too, I think. And Mark, of course, is editing. So it's really been a blast getting the team back together again. And those pages started to roll in from Carlo. It was really kind of surreal. It was like almost feeling like, thrown back 20 years. I mean, it was really, it's something special, I think. So hope you enjoy it. Comes out October 8th.
Yeah, indeed. 2 weeks. So, definitely still time to reach out to your store and make sure they get a copy set aside for you, or have them do an advance reorder. You can still get it in just barely if you mentioned before Monday. 20 years. That is a crazy thought, because not only has this shaped the Hulk and the Marvel universe and cosmic universe, it's entered into the MCU. We're seeing spin-offs with Planet She-Hulk. Like, how does that feel to realize you've just shaped so much of the grand scale of the Marvel universe?
It's a little bizarre. I mean, I got my first sort of Holy Cats moment. Well, I had a lot of Holy Cats moments in comics, but uh, when I was first starting off in those first couple of years, I was kind of just moving really fast, and I didn't have a lot of time to sort of sit and breathe and think, "Holy my gosh, I'm actually writing these comics," and blah blah blah. But when that big fat hardcover of Planet Hulk came out, I got my box and just held that thing. It was like, this feels real. It was really substantial, and it's been just incredible. I mean, the thing that matters most to me is just when I meet fans, and when, because folks have told me a lot of things that are just really moving. I mean, a lot of folks have told me that this was their first comic, the first comic they ever read, and it got them into comics, which is like, am I that old? And then I look at the gray in my beard, and I guess I am. But also, I mean, folks have told me like somebody told me that, yeah, I mean, folks have told me they read this book when they were having really hard times. Somebody told me that reading Planet Hulk helped them stop drinking, which is wild. But I'm just really grateful for the way it's gotten out there, and I'm grateful that it's had an impact on people's, that it's meant something to people. So that's the most important thing. I mean, it is also just fun to see, the action figures and and everything else, but mostly it's just about, yeah, when something you are lucky enough to work on actually resonates with people, and is something they remember, there's nothing better.
Oh, it's amazing, because even my son, has found his way through comics thanks to you with the Mech Cadets and Mech Cadet.
Oh, wow.
But you're about to enter into another big universe where you can shape a major way with Dungeons and Dragons: The Fallbacks. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about this brand new entry into the Dungeons and Dragons world?
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. So I've been writing Stranger Things books over at Dark Horse, and my editor, Spencer Cushing, who I love, called me up and was like, "Hey, you interested in doing Dungeons and Dragons books?" Because we'd done Stranger Things books that referenced Dungeons and Dragons, and he knew that I played, and we'd geeked out about that kind of stuff before. But when it came to me with this, I was like, "Holy yes, I absolutely want to do this." And then we had the great fortune of that the folks, the Dungeons and Dragons folks wanted us to base the new comic book series on this novel, The Fallbacks, written by J. Lee Johnson, which is a new novel with a new crew of a new party of ragtag underdog and slightly morally suspect adventurers. And I read the book, and it's fantastic, and just right up my alley. And feels like, reading the book makes you feel like that experience of playing the game, and that's really what I wanted to do with the comic book. I mean, I think the fun thing about playing D&D is I mean, there are many fun things about it, but one of the things I love is just the fact you get, a bunch of your friends in a room, and doing this role play, playing this game, and whatever plan the dungeon master might have had, for whatever adventure this is going to be, it gets thrown out the window invariably. You know what I mean? Just because, you've got actual people who are just like, I mean, everybody, like your character might be lawful good, but every player is kind of chaotic neutral when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? Like, every character is like, every player is like, let's do something here. And so you have this real unpredictability. And yet when people are playing their characters honestly, you still get this amazing story and character development and dynamic. And but there's a degree, there's a freewheeling nature to it, and that is just untouchable. I mean, it's just a blast. And I love that these characters that Jay Lee created for this novel and now for this comic have that kind of vibe. I mean, the party is led by a rogue. Uh, and we've got a tiefling bard who's a troublemaker. We've got a cleric who is actually, I mean, has no real faith in the divinity of gods. But I mean, what his deal is that he bargains with gods. He doesn't worship the gods. He bargains with them in order to get, access to spells and things. Which is just a great take. You know what I mean? Like they're all skeptics. They're all, and then we've got a wizard who is very, who's basically got this hyper focus and just wants to, get more knowledge and figure things out, and is very I mean, just everybody's got a different angle on things. And they're just a ton of fun. You put any two of them together and you've got friction and chemistry. It's just I've had a blast writing it. So they're yep.
Very clearly like somebody who honestly plays D&D. You nailed every bit of that is the experience playing the game.
Yeah, it's funny because I have friends who are much more versed in like the in-depth knowledge of spells, for example. Like I'm a little bit of a when I play D&D, I usually just play like fighters, because I can't really be bothered to remember all the different spells. And I've spent my whole life being so knotted up in this kind of lawful good mode that I like just being a little, a little borderline berserker in the game. But so I don't necessarily have the, encyclopedic depth of the rule book, but I mean, I'm an enthusiastic participant, and I'm learning what I need to learn as I go along here as we're working on the book. The Dungeons and Dragons the Wizards of the Coast folks are great. I mean, they're a fountain of resources, and they've got the nuggets of knowledge about the world that we're setting this in that help. And I've got a few ringer friends who I go to for I need a teleportation spell, that can, move some, and they're like, well, teleportation, that's a very high level spell, actually, if you want to move the whole point. Anyway, I've got my experts that I go to for my little workarounds to make stuff work within the plot. We are trying to keep, like all the spells recognizable, and everything that happens can fit within gameplay. Just because it's fun when stuff works that way. And so if you're a longtime D&D player, there'll be little nuggets and things. If you're familiar with the the world of Farron and all that kind of stuff, there's going to be nuggets that of continuity that should be fun. We're adding to that. And if you've never played the game before, you should also get a kick out of it. I mean, you don't really need to know anything else other than that it's it's a swords and sorcery world with wizards and thieves and fighters and clerics, and anything can happen.
All right. So the one question I know I had going into this show, one of my customers had asked me, is this going to be an adaptation of Jay Lee's novel, or is this going to be just Jay Lee's characters going forward?
Yeah. It is not an adaptation. It picks up I mean, it happens after that first novel, and it fits into the continuity and everything like that. But yeah, no, it's a new story with these really fun characters.
Awesome. This sounds absolutely amazing. And that will release a week after the return to Planet Hulk on October 15th. So here's the big one, though, that I've been dying to talk to you about because I've always been a fan of the Winchester boys. You are bringing Supernatural back after 5 years of no Supernatural for the 20th. It has been 20 years since the show premiered this month.
It's mind blowing.
Talk to me about Supernatural.
So Nate Cosby, editor I worked with on Planet Hulk back in the day. He worked with Mark on Planet Hulk with me, and he's been editing stuff at Dynamite for a long time. And yeah, he gave me a call and said Supernatural, and I actually had not watched the show. You know what I mean? Like, so I knew about it. I hadn't really watched it. He was like, just watch, because it's kind of right up your alley, and it is. I mean, so if you don't know anything about the show, it started in 2005, and it's basically, I mean, as it starts, it gets into all kinds of things as it goes along. But as it starts off, it's basically like two brothers who drive each other up the wall. One's sort of the college boy, the other's the kind of rebel, and they're on a road trip, taking on creepy crawlies and monsters and ghosts and demons and other supernatural things. It's kind of a great, in that first season in particular, this is kind of great monster of the week kind of show where every episode is a new community, new town, and new supporting characters and new monsters. Um, it's got this great vibe because of the relationship between these two brothers, and the humor in that, and also the drama in that. They have the family has a terrible shared, a terrible shared tragic history, um and so there's real emotional depth to it and weight to it, but also the show loves kind of goofball humor, and and I love that, so it's and so there's this great combination of everyday uh human emotional sibling rivalry and sibling trauma, combined with really mind-blowing supernatural stuff, as well as uh, a great pre-social media, less technified world. The show has this real feel of, kind of an organic feel. Like they're on the road, they're driving this awesome vintage sports car of their dad's. They've got or power a monster car, not monster car. What am I trying to say? What's the word? Muscle car. They've got and they're mostly driving through the Midwest and the West, and it's got almost this kind of Western outdoor feel. Like the production design like really loves texture and like just worn buildings and worn environments, and it just feels, concrete and tactile and analog in the best of ways. um there's no HUD, you know what I mean? There's no digital readouts coming across the screen. And I think that adds to the visual drama, you know what I mean? And it also makes the supernatural stuff even more powerful when it appears, because it's set in this very real everyday world where there's not, so that kind of contrast I love. So it's just been a kick in the pants to work on. Eder Messias is the artist. He and I worked together on the Sam Wilson Captain America book that just came out earlier this year. Clayton Crane, that's a Clayton Crane cover you're looking at right there. Oh yeah, and Eder is actually a huge fan of the show, which is awesome. I think I think Nate told me that Eder's like comfort show was Supernatural. Like he just watched it while he was drawing, for years, and now he gets to watch it while he's drawing Supernatural comics, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. So now, if we're talking about watching the show, I know that you have definitely made this as an approachable entry point for any reader, even those who have not yet watched Supernatural. But for the longtime Supernatural fans, when does this take place? Is this season 16 or when is this?
Yeah. I know there's been some confusion because I think some of the publicity said it takes place between season 1 and season 2, and of course there's like 10 minutes between season 1 and season 2 in the actual thing. It's actually between episodes near the end of season 1, and so we're slotting our stories in between. It's certain moments in between episodes where there's kind of a space. We chose to do it, and also like later storylines may take place in between episodes in season 2, and then we may jump around a little bit. But we wanted to start off really early when it was this kind of Monster of the Week show, before it gets into as much of the kind of demonology and there's a huge demon angel mythology that gets built up as the show progresses, which is awesome, but it's a lot. And so for brand new readers, for folks who are brand new to Supernatural, this felt like a great place to start. Kind of it You don't have to know anything in order to pick up this book and get going. At the same time, that early monster hunting time, I think, is a fun time for longtime Supernatural fans as well. It's kind of fun to back up and spend some time with these characters when they were fresh and dewy, and also we've got some little nuggets in there that'll refer to stuff that happens later on down the line, and also we're adding to the mythology. We're introducing a brand new villain that you've never seen before. The first 5 issues, each one of those issues, were in a different place. It's like the show, new mystery, new monster in every issue. But there is kind of an overarching story and development happening with this new villain, which is going to be a ton of fun, and also tap into the emotional core of these characters in what's hopefully a moving way. So I hope you all get a kick out of it. As you can see, this in this variant for issue number 1, our first issue involves some mysterious fires in a rundown factory town, and we'll find out exactly what's going on there in the subsequent issues. I can tease a few things. You're going to see librarians, very scary librarians. You're going to see
I know we have a few libraries to watch.
yeah, you're going to see wizards in the woods. You're going to see Vegas, baby. And you're going to see, what else can I tease? You're going to see cowboys, because it is the Winchester boys. So it's all good stuff. And I hope you pile into the car and come on the road with us.
Well, it's a good thing that you pointed that out, because I know that's another comment that a lot of people consider the third major character of the Supernaturals, not the Winchesters,
Yep,
but
yep,
that's
yep.
Chevy Impala. And
I
this
know.
is Chevy Impala, but I
No,
know
it's
you have
not.
this.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'm just gonna say it because it's true. We have the right, like when you do a licensed book, there's certain rights that you're able to the license comes with certain restrictions sometimes, just based on whatever deals are out there, and we can do everything except show the Impala. We can't actually show the Impala. But I love restrictions in a way, because restrictions force you as a writer and creator to come up with fun justifications and that inspires new stories. So there is a in-story reason why you don't see the actual Impala. It has an emotional thing behind it, so it matters emotionally. And there's also going to be there's more to it. So I'll just leave it like that. But it's there will be payoffs, and they will have a cool black muscle car, vintage car, of course, because I don't know that Dean would willfully drive anything else. But yes, have no fear. We didn't just screw it up. Uh, and and there are reasons behind everything that hopefully will be fun for folks to discover.
I love it. I mean, it clearly shows that you have, for somebody who didn't start out as a Supernatural fan, that you have fallen in love with it. And I love that every single question you have had an answer for. So I have everyone who is a Supernatural fan or is about to become one is going to have all that they wanted in this series.
I hope you enjoy it. We're having a ton of fun. Come on
All
board.
right. So the FOC on Supernatural looks like is probably getting pushed back to next week, October 6th, with an October 29th in-store date. But keep an eye, obviously, on this show because we'll let you know as soon as it gets an official FOC. But you're right. It looks like several issues in. I mean, we have solicitations out through issue number 3.
Oh yeah. No, we got a plan. They're going to be fun. Keep your eyes open.
All right.
Get those orders in, my friends. You won't regret it.
So, Greg, I mean, as always, you are just, you are a writing barbarian when it comes to it. You're just hitting everything on here. You have a lot of amazing. Is there anything else you can hint at that's coming up? And where can people find you online to track down future releases?
Yeah, I do have some other stuff, but I don't think I've got anything else that I'm allowed to talk about just yet. So this is we gave you a lot of stuff to dig your teeth into. So I hope you enjoy it. You can always find me. My website is gregpock.com. And I'll post all kinds of updates there. I'm also on Blue Sky at Greg Pock. My Blue Sky handle is gregpock.net, at gregpock.net. I've also got a business-only Blue Sky handle, which is at gregpock.com. And then finally, I'm on Instagram at gregpocknet, GREGPAKNET. So those are the best places to find me. I'm also on Mastodon, but that's a more complicated address. Just Google or just search for Greg Pock on Mastodon, you'll find me. I deleted Twitter because Twitter's garbage, but you can find me elsewhere. I'm not very happy about being on Instagram either, but yes, you can find me, and I hope you do.
All right, awesome. Great. I'm so excited for the next month worth of comic releases that have your name on it. This is going to be an amazing fall. So thank you so much for joining us. It is honestly the hugest of honors. And
y'all are awesome. And once again, I love this whole thing you're doing because you've got this great explanation of how people pre-order and you make it fun and pre-ordering is, I mean, I know it's a goofy, complicated thing for fans to have to grapple with, but it is the heart and blood of this industry. It keeps it's not the heart and blood. I guess the heart and blood is the comics themselves, but it keeps the blood flowing. Let's say that it's the constantly applied defibrillator that keeps us all alive. So please do pre-order with your favorite comic shop and hopefully Mathias' shop. Y'all are awesome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, Greg. I think we're going to do a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back with all the other incredible comics on Final Order Cutoff this Monday.
Thank you.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram.
Sure, comic books are beautiful, but underneath, there's something more authentic and exciting. The original art. See the pencils, the lines, the shading, as if you were there in the studio watching the artist work. Getting a peek at comics' backstage is easy with the original art experience.
All right, Friday night, guys. Thank you for being here. To be doing anything, the fact that you're here means the world to me.
Nick's pieces are always value priced with your budget in mind, for the beginning collector to the veteran.
And this is gorgeous. You got Aquaman and Mira.
Join the original art experience with Nick and our friendly crew of regulars, even if it's just to enjoy the art. Fridays at 7. It's all part of the experience.
I'm going to jump in the middle of the commercial break and do a live read, guys. Remember, tomorrow here on the EXP, starting at 6 a.m. Eastern and ending at 6 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, we are live for 24 straight hours for Local Comic Shop Day. Send energy drink. But we have so many great guests throughout the whole day, including some guests that you've seen here on the FOC show and getting to see some of those interviews over again. So make sure you tune in for that. All that information is over at theexplive.com, theexplive.com for all that information. Pray for me, everybody.
Hey!
right, welcome back as we talk about the rest of the comics on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, September 29th. Man, you've got a long weekend ahead, Kyle. I just have to really quickly say, so we'll have to talk about that a little bit later again. But
Yeah, for sure.
You ready to dive into PRH?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. As someone who just got a PRH account this week, I'm very excited to dive into PRH because now I know why you see what you see.
There it is. Yeah. So reminding everyone, you guys, no matter who you are, you can view along at prhcomics.com. You will see the FOC date right there. We're going to start it off with, there are so many amazing covers and brilliant comics to look at. But the first one I want to really speaks to me, not only because it has the wonderful Christos Gage writing, but Battle World #2 for Kyle has perhaps one of the greater Muppet variants imaginable with that infinite array of felt.
Listen, if you haven't seen Miss Piggy as a villain for all these years, now with the Infinity Gauntlet, she definitely is.
But I will say my favorite part about this Battle World issue #2, oddly, has nothing to do with the cover. It is that the cross-gen universe might return. For those who don't know, CrossGen was a small publisher, a big publisher in the early 2000s that, in my opinion, changed things. It was the image of the year 2000 that had so much potential. Every creator was moving to it. Every story was brilliant. And unfortunately, the people who ran it weren't necessarily the best of people, as they quickly got into debt, didn't pay their creators, and everything fell apart in a disaster. However, Disney bought up the rights to everything cross-gen, and now it sits in the hands of Marvel, and I've been dying, waiting for little hints to come back. We've had minor new relaunched, reimagined stories in the cross-gen universe. We've had collected editions. But if Christos Gage pulls this off with Marcus Toe's incredible art, and we get to have a little bit more of the cross-gen universe, it becomes part of the infinite multiverse of Marvel, I would be so beyond ecstatic. This has so much potential and happiness to me. I cannot explain it.
No, absolutely. And by the way, Scooter is Doctor Strange.
Scooter is is Scooter Doctor Strange? It looks like Gonzo is Doctor Strange there.
No, up at the top of the picture.
Are you sure that's Doctor Strange? Because
I don't know anybody else who wears that big a collar.
Mephisto.
Oh, okay. He could be Mephisto. Okay. I will grant your premise. I think you're wrong, but I will grant your premise.
You know, it's the somebody, not while we're live, is going to have to look up the Infinite Crisis or Infinity Gauntlet #1. Was I saying Infinite Crisis this entire time? Infinity Gauntlet.
I don't know. I was busy trying to figure out which Muppet was which character. So
there's a fun one. Throw it out in the comments if you know who is Scooter portraying. So that being said, next big one. One of my favorite prose novelists out there is Justina Ireland. She is a absolute magical being when it comes to crafting storytelling in prose, and she has been breaking through with some amazing comics at IDW and Marvel. Justina helped Joe Kelly towards the end of Amazing Spider-Man, brought us all sorts of brilliant tales recently, and now is bringing us to the Age of Revelation with Cloak and Dagger. Or is it Cloak or Dagger, as the title is? A brand new series set during Age of Revelation. I love Justina's writing. I actually just finished Justina's novel, which was the Star Wars Acolyte prequel, Wayseeker, which was unbelievably great. I cannot wait to see her take on Cloak and Dagger. Like, this is just fun. And I mean, again, a million amazing covers across the board. Black Cat, you're going to see the hint of these classified Marvel Rivals covers we're going to talk more about later. But a million great covers on Cloak or Dagger as well. Like, I don't know, is this, I know that Kyle is our antagonist towards the Age of Revelation. And I understand it because Marvel, once again, as we keep saying, dropped the ball on how they solicited it. Is that one that you might be considering? No? No. Okay. I love Kyle will always be honest with us. But maybe
I may consider scroll up just a slight little bit. I may consider that vegan Talavera cover.
ooh, yeah. Quite the cover.
Just because but this is not one that I had put on my order list. I've never been a big Cloak and Dagger fan. I was always more of a Vision and Scarlet Witch like couple fan rather than Cloak and Dagger. But that Ivan Talavera cover is incredible, and so that may be the direction I go if I go anyway.
That is a phenomenal cover. But perhaps what it could be is just with the Age of Revelation, sometimes you just need a little pick-me-up. I mean, with this weekend, you might need a little pick-me-up. So a book that I feel is perfect for not only you, but everyone is Deadpool's Affirmations. Not a traditional comic in the slightest, because it's not a comic. It is actual collection of art and affirmations from everyone's favorite merc with a mouth. Feel yourself to heal yourself. Never let me say that again on anything, ever.
I'm mad you said it. I'm mad I let you say it just now and didn't know you were going to say it.
Yep, I read the cover. It was a mistake I realized as I was doing it. But it's the type of thing you can expect with this goofy, odd book. I think this will be the perfect gift for the holiday season for Deadpool fans. And you can get it from your local comic shop, which is a cool thing. So on something completely different, or I suppose we should be a bit more Monty Python on it now for something completely different.
You want me to play the audio clip?
Go for it, because we just had that great interview with Greg Pak. Death
And now for
of
something
Silver.
completely different.
There it is. The final issue. Will Norrin Rad finally come to an end? Will Kelly Coe step up as the new Silver Surfer? Perhaps aside Norrin, or in replacing Norrin, or perhaps just find other happiness somewhere in the Marvel Universe. One way or another, I am beyond excited. I know that there's been a huge demand with word of issue number 4 spreading. This week's release of it was amazing, but it's also Silver Surfer. It is a book that everyone wants because it is a beloved character. I am excited about this. I cannot wait to see where Greg brings us. And I mean, we just watched that interview with him. So you might get some hints there. All right. Do you want to talk a little bit about Dying is Easy?
Absolutely. Joe Hill, illustrated by Martin Simmons. This is what would happen if someone like Mark Maron became Sherlock Holmes and was tracking down someone like Gallagher or George Lopez as the bad guy. So it's a comedian. It's a guy who's been a lot of things. He's a talk show host, a radio personality, all this kind of stuff, failed out of everything and became a comedian. And the antagonist is another comedian who's doing it dirty by stealing jokes. So it's a Sherlock Holmes story, except they don't call him Sherlock Holmes. They have another S-based word before luck or before lock, that maybe it's a shirt Lock Holmes without an R. You can figure that one out. I'm trying not to curse on the air. So, check that one out. But I really like the idea of he's very, very relatable in that he's a failure, but he winds up falling backwards into something he's great at.
Yeah, and this is early Martin Simmons before he really blew up with all his work with Tynion and, Joe Hill, the legendary Joe Hill, who is not only a incredibly popular novelist and the son of Stephen King, he is a brilliant comic creator and the man who brought us Lock and Key. So this is a bit of an older miniseries, finally getting a good collection. I think that I'm not the only one. I'm pretty certain Kyle might be the most excited about it.
I'm very excited about this one. And this was a great series when it came out originally, so I'm excited now that it's collected into a trade paperback.
Absolutely. So next up, another Age of Revelation piece, the Expatriate X-Men. Eve Ewing is bringing us a jump X years in the future for Extraordinary X-Men. I like that we have a Miss Marvel-led team. The whole team actually really has my attention. I like the design of all of this. I've been enjoying Extraordinary X-Men, but this looks like it might even draw more people in. Um, I'm looking forward to it. I can definitely see where it might chase some people away, but this is a fun place to see some of our newer mutant characters brought to light. I really like the designs. Yeah, just a fun one to point out as we continue on. But Kyle, I'm going to give it back to you because there's another trade paperback you wanted to talk up, isn't there?
Yeah, Bob Stein, R.L. Stein. Sorry, it's always weird when I see his name and I think, oh, that's my friend Bob. R.L. Stein, The Graveyard Club. This was one of those books, guys, that I wasn't sure what to expect. R.L. Stein writing comics has been sometimes a little iffy at best. But when he comes to Boom Studios and he's doing something that isn't Ghostbusters, it isn't Fear Street, it isn't, Stuff of Nightmares, doing a YA horror graphic novel, not trying to appeal to the people who loved him 25 years ago, 30 years ago, trying to appeal to a new group of people. I was very cautious, but this was so good. Graveyard Club is the story of this group of kids who live in a small town that is essentially surrounded by cemeteries all around the outside, which is not that different to the small town that R.L. Stein grew up in Ohio. So he's pulling from a place of knowledge. And it's about the group of kids and their interactions with the things of the cemeteries and bats and everything spooky. Not necessarily a super scary story, but definitely spooky enough to really ignite somebody's passion for horror.
I love it. I mean, the idea that we have something we can introduce a new audience to that might give you goosebumps is always fun. Was that too much? Are you going to yell at me?
No, we're good.
All right. Okay, but no, I mean, honestly, I think me and Kyle both are, of an era where we read Goosebumps, 30 years ago, and it is cool that there's something new for that effect.
So, in just the weird way my life works, I have a copy of R.L. Stein's Ohio State University student ID at home in my comic collection. Again, I love R.L. Stein. I've gotten to know him over the years, and I never thought that my favorite author from being a little kid would be a friend of mine as a grown-up. But then to have met him, become friends with him and Tim Jacobus, who did all those great Goosebumps covers, and to see them both still working in comics and graphic novels is super fun for me.
Yeah. I mean, awesome week of, amazing covers. I will say that, some brilliant books, but obviously some amazing covers as you saw me scroll past. One of the big ones, though, I got to talk about Imperial 4. It is the finale to Jonathan Hickman's cosmic epic, up there with the Annihilation sagas. This is the big finale, issue number 4. I mean, we get to see fallout from Sakaar, which is great after we just talked about Greg. We get to see the lead into Planet She-Hulk. We get to see what is happening with the Inhuman Kree Skrull Empire. What is going on with the Shi'ar? What is going on with all of these unbelievable forces, including the Galactic Wakandan Empire? This will be a fun one. And my favorite part is they are giving no hint at what is going to end. Part 4 of a 4-part cosmic event, War. The end. No words to solicit this beyond, because if you're already reading this, you don't need more. Go grab the first 3 issues. Issue number 4 is going to be epic. So a lot of great covers on that, including another Marvel Rivals classified cover. Again, we'll talk about that later, but I bring it up because Marvel Rival fans, you are going to get a brand new Marvel Rivals comic in Marvel Rivals King in Black. Now, many of you likely remember the King in Black as that epic Spider-Man Venom story where Null, the god of symbiotes, came to Earth. It seems like in the Marvel Rivals video game, we're going to be getting a Rise of Null as well. And this one-shot Incredible Marvel Rivals issue will be an awesome new way to do this. I want to confirm, make sure. Yeah, it looks like it's just a single issue, but continuing part of the Marvel Rivals Infinity comics finally coming into print. So technically, all those Marvel Rivals one-shots will pair nicely together, but they stand alone. Now, one thing I want to point out, Marvel Rivals is an insane video game with millions upon millions upon millions of players. And it is driving people to comic shops like nothing I've ever seen. So if you're a comic fan just looking to grab it off the wall, this is the competitive book that's hard to get because there's a line on Wednesdays when they release. Always good to pre-order. And if you're somebody who's just stumbled upon this show and isn't a regular comic buyer, it's a good thing to let the local comic shop, the shop nearest you, know, hey, I love Marvel Rivals and I want to get this comic. So that way it's waiting for you and you don't have to worry about it selling out because this is going to be a high demand piece. Have you played Marvel Rivals yet, Kyle? I mean, you just seem like such a gamer.
No, I don't have anything that'll play it. They haven't released a Mac patch yet. It's coming. They've said it is. They haven't yet. So I'm waiting. I actually, I sold my console, believe it or not, to buy an ASM 300 a few months back. So I don't have a console. All I have are Macs. I'm going a little crazy without video games, but as soon as they release a patch for Marvel Rivals to be played on Mac, I will probably disappear from existence for a good long time.
It is my biggest fear that has kept me away from the video game is everyone tells me things that makes me just want to.
Right.
Sure.
I will be 100% addicted. Matthias will have to fly out to Ohio and take me to some sort of facility to get me to stop playing so I can come back and do the show.
Or I will get sucked into it with them. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
So another great one that is going to hopefully draw people to comic shops. The new Marvel Zombies TV series hit Disney Plus yesterday. And we have the second printing of the Marvel Zombies Red Band series. Yes, a mature Marvel Zombies comic. So keep in mind, if you missed that first print drop, you can get that. Speaking of second printings, how about one of the hottest selling, most insane comics in recent memory, Marvel and DC's Deadpool Batman #1. I mean, this had to have sold astronomical numbers because every comic shop I talked to ordered what they thought was an uncomfortable amount and still sold out. It is insanity. And we are now getting a second printing with that big reveal from the end of issue #1, the mashup of Lobo and Wolverine logo. I mean, fun craziness there. There are ratio variants. Once again, we can scroll down and see the Frank Miller cover is getting reprinted once again as a ratio variant. And we're getting, I believe, a brand new Mark Bagley cover as one of the ratios. So definitely let your comic shop know to see if they're going to have them. Note that they will likely be above cover price because they're not easy to obtain. But this is, I mean, I own multiple covers of the first printing, and I'm going back. I'm double dipping, with the second printing because I like logo. It's a great, well, I don't know how great I could say. It is a crazy character design that just, it feeds that old 90s amalgam vibe to me. So we're going to look over some other incredible comics. A lot of great manga and prose also on this week's FOC. So if you're a manga fan, worth taking a look. But another big one is a new title from Ignition Press. This is a particularly fun one because it is a new Tim Seeley book with a very interesting take that reminds me vaguely of Joshua Williamson's infamous Image title, Birthright. as a young girl disappears and is rediscovered after a notable amount of time. She has aged and comes with an unbelievable story of a fantasy land where she was with a tiger, she did good in a jungle like world, and no one wants to believe her. Everything about this sounds suspect of kids don't just disappear into fantasy alternate universes outside of a handful of novels until, as it says wonderfully in the solicits, I will make sure I get the exact title on this one. A legend of the land of Oz and his secret agency has its fingers on the pulse of so-called fictional worlds and is now trying to recruit our protagonist, Mary, into this Lovecraftian nightmare. I love the idea of trying to say that all of those stories, like Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Wizard of Oz, and all that, had some reality of kids went to another dimension and how insane it is coming back. It's not simply like, I'm back in Kansas. And the idea that these could be an interlinked and known thing and having an organization that deals with it, it has me incredibly enticed. And by the way, if you're not familiar with it, the organization that is in the title of this book is called No Place. Like, tell me that doesn't draw you in for a comic, Kyle.
I'm very excited for basically everything that Ignition Press is doing right now. Tim Seeley, Stefano Simone, like throw more power on the book, and then throw it in that Wizard of Oz sort of storytelling framework. That Christian Ward cover, the 1 in 5.
Yeah.
Like, is the stuff nightmares are made of, and I have to have it.
I mean, I'm personally in love with that Tim Seeley. I like the chasing away the Lovecraftian horror that is Cthulhu-esque elder god with a feather. So
they're both great. Like, don't get me wrong. But like I said, I like now that the Wizard of Oz is kind of out there and so many people are doing so many great things with it. I love what the Wizard of Oz has become.
Yes.
So super excited to see what Tim Seeley can do with it and what a company like Ignition Press can do with the fun things that they're doing to add on.
Absolutely. So you'll notice there's not a lot of revealed covers yet for this next title, but I am very excited with Nova Centurion. Spinning out of Imperial, Jed MacKay is going to give Richard Rider a very unique role because he's still the last Nova. He has the entire world mind in his head, which for those not familiar with Nova, but maybe more DC fans, it's like if there was only one Green Lantern again, but he had the power of every Green Lantern and all of the Guardians in his head. Unfortunately, Richard's life has gotten progressively crazier and crazier since becoming the last Nova. He's tried reuniting and reforming the group. It has failed. And coming out of Imperial, whatever happens there, puts him in an odd position as he becomes a Nova for hire. And that's a powerhouse of power to be a mercenary for hire. I am most curious to see where Jed brings this character, but I'm also 100% in on it. For something completely different, because Kyle's just waiting for it on there.
And now for something completely different.
Yet also in space, Matt Kint brings us into space with Dark Horse for Space Scouts. I mean, right off the bat, the cover by interior artist David Rubin draws you in with that intrigue of, what is this? I like the Mr. Terrific-esque T-spheres in there. But yes, it's a reality show, Girl Scout kind of craziness done in 3 issues. And nothing could sound more Matt Kint-esque. So I am very curious. Matt, oddly enough, did another scout-based book that was more of a modern day, craziness. So I'm really in take on this. Space Scouts, like I said, will be 3 issues. starting out in November from Dark Horse. I don't know that Matt's ever failed with a Dark Horse book. This definitely has a lot of potential and is a great one to keep an eye on for fans of any of Matt's books, Bad Idea books, Valiant books, and particularly things like Mind Management and others. Then, keeping with the stars, we have Star Trek Red Shirts coming to a conclusion, and Star Wars Boba Fett, the Black, White, and Red anthology. This one with a story by Saladin Ahmed definitely has my attention. But for the most part, PRH is a lot of great continuing series. I think it's advisable you guys all look through it on your own. There's simply three last things that we want to point out, particularly the brand new Deadpool in the way of Undeadpool. Tim Seeley really is writing everything with multiple books on FOC this week. He has Godzilla Kaisei, he has Money Shot, he has that new Ignition book we just talked about, No Place, and he's got Undeadpool. I just feel Tim and Greg are just chained to typewriters, just forced to write their entire existence away to bring us amazing storytelling. And to be 100% honest, I hate to say it, I'm very happy with that because I could read their works to no end. So Undeadpool, set during the Age of Revelation, X years in the future. What is it that has zombified Deadpool? I mean, he was never a pretty looking figure underneath the mask to begin with, but a little bit more undead has me intrigued. Plus, I'm not going to say no to Tim Seeley writing Deadpool. That just seems like a perfect combination. Am I wrong? Not wrong. I like it. Speaking of unexpected combinations, though, over at Venom on Venom Black, White, and Blood, we have Carl Potts joined by famed actor of films like The Dark Knight Returns, Batman: The Dark Knight, One Piece, Dune, Late Night with the Devil, and more. David Dastmalchian. David Dastmalchian and Carl Potts are doing a story in Venom Black, White, and Blood. Big name actor, superstar symbiote character. This is, in my opinion, what the Black, White, and Red or Black, White, and Blood or Black and White anthologies are meant for. I would have never guessed we would have gotten somebody as big as David Dastmalchian on this. But David, a huge comic fan and has been for ages, has been writing some amazing books for years in the comic book world. But this is a really cool one. This is what I want to see every time we have one of these black and white anthologies, is just these superstar, unfathomable creators working for an issue on it. And David Dastmalchian is one. But we'll talk about that more later. Last PRH book I need to bring up. X marks the spot on this one. It is the last of our Age of Revelations for this week. X Vengers. Jason Liu is going to give us not a replacement, but an addition to Avengers as we deal with the Earth's mightiest mix of heroes X years later. This is an intriguing one because the New Mutants fan of me is loving seeing Danny Moonstar and some of the other classic New Mutants in a high power position. But it's also very unique seeing this very unexpected combination of non-A, and I would even say not even B-list, X-Men and Avengers teamed up for this title. So another one to keep an eye on, and definitely one to let your local comic shop know if you would like to pre-order, because with all of these Age of Revelations, this is a hard twist. Do shops simply drag over the customers from the pre-existing title? Or is everyone going to follow? How many people might hop in? It is a question we all have to face, and it helps so much more when viewers like you reach out to your local shop and let us know what you're looking for. Now, I'm going to pop over to Lunar Distribution because it is time to talk up some DC, Image, Oni, Dynamite, and more. So over at lunardistribution.com, remember to scroll down to upcoming FOC. Make sure you're clicked on the right date. And we're going to start up with the 2000 AD annual for next year, 2026. These annuals are always fun. They've been doing them for a number of years. They are hardcover, thick collections. kind of like a new Prague or issue of 2000 AD, but with a higher end and easy entry point. So if you've always been a Judge Dredd fan, if you're excited about the upcoming Rogue Trooper movie, or you want otherwise to dip your toe into great United Kingdom English sequential artwork, this is going to be the way to go. Some great creators on this, from Rob Williams to Joe Curry, Jake Lynch. I think this is going to be a fun one and a perfect place for somebody to discover Dread and Mega City 1. Meanwhile, Absolute Flash finally getting its trade paperback, catching up with the rest of the Absolute characters. It's kind of weird that the fastest man in the Absolute universe is the last one across the finish line of trade paperbacks. We have, as always, a number of amazing titles and amazing covers on FOC, and worth taking a look at all of them. We get a reprint of the first appearance of Supergirl in Action Comics 252 in traditional facsimile form, foil, and a blank cover, which is the perfect place to get your favorite version of Supergirl drawn on. There's also something I want to point out from Silver Sprocket, a lot of unique stickers on FOC this week that your store can order. Perhaps if you want something amazing and alternative to put on your favorite water container, binder, backpack, jacket, or more, these are worth paying attention to, because look, I agree, no matter where your views are, all I want is to pet all of the dogs. But some people believe all cats are beautiful. Make your choice. Let your local comic shop know. These are awesome $4.90 or $3.99 stickers. And, you know, they're going to be high quality. I know the guys at Silver Sprocket definitely love their quality on these and love giving these alternate takes far beyond just cats and dogs. We have a number of awesome things, but one big one for me is the return of Barbaric. Good friend of Nathan Gooden. I am excited to see him back with Michael Marecki on this classic character of a barbarian and his talking axe. It is soon to be a big upcoming TV series with Patrick Stewart playing that talking axe. But this one shot is going to focus more on some of the side characters of Barbaric and a talking flail. Very, very fun.
Patrick Stewart saying the things that axe says is not something I had on my 2025 bingo card.
Yeah, well, it'll probably be more like a 2026 release. But it's also one of those things that if you know anything about Patrick Stewart, the man has no filter when he's not on script.
Oh, no, he's going to be fabulous in it. But, like, just some of the things the axe says coming out of Patrick Stewart's mouth are things that I would pay significantly more money to hear.
Yes. And on that note, a mature book, a very mature book. But on top of that, there will be ultra mature covers. Kyle's going to cringe at me for showing these. But thankfully, I love getting the adult blind bag covers that Vault puts out. But often it is a blind bag thing where you have no idea what it is. I know there was another retailer I was talking to who was quite shocked by one of the Money Shot blind bags that they opened up, not expecting the imagery they saw. And one of the cool things that Lunar has been working with Vault on a little bit better is giving us censored versions so you can get an idea what it is without any of the naughty bits being exposed when you're viewing the website. So you have a little bit more of an idea on what is going to be underneath these blind bags and underneath the black censorship when these release. So, one I want to point out for anyone who sees it, Batman Day happened this last Saturday. Hopefully everyone had a great Batman Day. Hopefully you all went out to your local comic shops and supported them and, you know, supported that poor, utterly underfunded Gothamite Batman. I mean, you know, the guy needs the attention and the money. Clearly, just not selling, you know, as a character or a book. And you know, I mean, I feel whoever's underneath that vigilante mask, he's got to be a poor fellow who just, you know, he's doing his best to rub his pennies together. But in one of the weirder acts that DC has ever done, they are soliciting second printing versions of the Batman Day bundles after Batman Day. I can't explain it. I don't know that every comic shop is honestly going to support it. But for context, just like almost any free thing that you will get from your comic shop, whether it be Free Comic Book Day, Halloween Comic Fest, Trick or Read, Batman Day, or others, your comic shop is paying for these things. So please keep in mind that they might not always have the opportunity to pay for these things that they give away for free. But if it is something you want, it might be worth reaching out to your local comic shop to see if they are ordering it, if they will be giving it away for free, or if there's perhaps even something you can do to help support that if you want to get them. Because the Batman Gotham sampler was a recalled item for Batman Day this last year because it contained a book that has been recalled and canceled. And now gets a new version, which will give you that preview of the new Batman ongoing by Matt Fraction and the very exciting Batman Nightfall by Joshua Williamson that I cannot express how excited I am to read. So that will give you a preview of that. But not every comic shop's going to be getting it. I don't even know if my comic shop's going to be getting it, and I'm the guy who makes the choice on whether or not I order it. It is an interesting option, but if you're interested in these things, it's worth reaching out to your shop to talk to them about it. On a different note, we won't have to get the sound clip for this one. How about a Big Ass Sword? Big Ass Sword is a new Rebellion hardcover original graphic novel about a robot with a big ass sword. It very much feels in the vibe of Rumble and a few other classic, almost Mignola-esque tones. But it is a dystopian, dark, Final Fantasy-esque meets Fallout tale that, having flipped through already, is exciting. This is like the type of story you'd read in Heavy Metal or Epic Magazine and wish it was longer. Well, here it is at full length as a thick OGN. I am hyped on this for $24 as a hardcover. But I mean, Kyle, tell me that little robot with a big sword doesn't speak to you.
You'll remember a few weeks back, I made us talk about this because it was in the previews pages section of Lunar Distribution. So this is definitely my jam. But when you go up to those sections of Lunar, right, when you just scroll up on Lunar, you have these previews and you can go through and you sometimes see a handful of pages from a book that is forthcoming on FOC. So you can even get a little bit more information than what you see in the FOC section where, you get the solicitation, all that in FOC, but here is a 7-page sort of preview. There's not a lot to it, but it's a 7-page preview of the book that now we're finally able to order. So again, looking at that preview section certainly helps you to know what it is you're getting.
Yeah, and it's right above the upcoming FOC, so you can see a lot of upcoming titles before you have to finalize your orders with shops. In fact, I got to show it off. That incredible Jay Fosgett, who we had on last week. I Hate Fairyland Popeye crossover. You can get a hint of where things are going there. So another fun point that both Lunar Distribution and PRH Comics have worth checking out, so you can get ahead and see if these are things that you will like without even spending a dime. A lot of great continuing things on FOC. One I've been enjoying, perhaps it's somebody who lives in California who's been to Universal City up in Los Angeles, which is the Universal theme parks little area. Part 3, the final piece of Cal Exit, the Battle of Universal City. I mean, I love that iconic Universal City walk background as well as all of the iconic rides hidden in there. But this is a crazy out there book. It has been doing wonderfully well. It is getting new printings. Number 1 got a second printing. Issue number 2 has a second printing on FOC now. No reason not to pick this up. This is a fun, mature, and out there take on what if California left the rest of the United States. So many fun things on FOC this week, as I have expressed. Another one I want to point out, though the rest of this series will be on FOC on a later FOC, if you would like the Peach Momoko full art foil version of the brand new Cult of the Lamb special, Schism, It is a one-shot by Alex Packnadell, who we also had on a few weeks back, talking about all sorts of things. This is 48 brand new pages of Cult of the Lamb, one of the most popular little mobile games out there. It is crazy, it is cute, it is dark, it is funny, and you can get a new one shot. You can order the regular covers in a few weeks on FOC, but if you want that virgin foil full art Peach Momoko, it is a steal at just $9.99. So, get that order in with your LCS. We had Tom Taylor on recently talking up in Detective Comics, and he kind of hinted that issue 1102 might be a first appearance or a hint at. So keep that in mind if you guys are ordering and enjoying this otherwise brilliant Tom Taylor piece. We finally have Drawing Blood number 9 on FOC. This has been pushed a number of times, but I'm excited to finally get this because that means it is finally on the way. David Avalone, Kevin Eastman, and Ben Bishop's awesome fictional semi-autobiography of Kevin Eastman's youth around making the Turtles and all of the insane fallout of such. This is really wonderful because I can tell you there are parts of the story that are 100% true, and there's parts of the story that are utterly fictionalized. And it is often never going to be what you expect is which. So really a great series. If you haven't been reading this, I recommend tracking it down and hopping in. And issue number 9, a great place to dive in on. Meanwhile, we've talked a lot with Oni about various EC horrors, and we've had everything from Epitaphs from the Abyss, traditional horror. We've had Cruel Universe for sci-fi insanity. We've had Cruel Kingdom for general fantasy horror. Now it's time to go to the Wild West with EC Outlaw Showdown. This is going to be a fun one-shot of Wild West stories from some of the perfect people to write Wild West horror. You're getting John Arcudi, Brian Azzarello, David Lapham, Tony Moore from The Walking Dead, and Ann Nocenti. This is going to be brilliant. And I hate to say, this isn't the 1950s. We don't get enough Western stories nowadays. We get a little bit more cowboys in the past 5 years than we've had over the last several decades. But I love Western stories in sequential art. It is something that particularly makes me think of a time period when EC did exist. So this is going to be a fun one as far as I'm concerned. A number of great covers for Outlaw Showdown for you to dive into while you draw your 6-gun and stir up a pot of beans over an open flame in the wild, wild west. Another one I'm not going to pop up, but I want to point out, Erotech, a 5-issue miniseries. Looks to be an interesting one for those looking for a great mature reading piece. Another one I have to point out, Rogue Trooper. The film is on the way. I am incredibly excited for this film. If you loved the Dread movie that came out years ago and were wishing they did a sequel, we're not getting a sequel anytime soon. I don't know if we'll ever get Mega City 1, the TV series that was promised, but when you have Rogue Trooper getting ready for a big theatrical release with an all-star director on there, I hope that this draws attention to this classic 2000 AD character. And this pretty much best of essential collection is going to be the way that those of you unfamiliar with Rogue Trooper will dive in. You're having artwork by Dave Gibbons, Cam Kennedy, all-star writing, from a number of people. And it is the out there sci-fi alien warfare that you didn't know you needed. So grab Essential Rogue Trooper and prepare yourself for the film, which hopefully, I'm hoping, comes out next year. DCKO fans, another crossover I need to put on everyone's radar. Flash 26. Mark Waid is coming on to join Christopher Cantwell with the character he created, Impulse, because as the world is coming to an end and all of our heroes are off having this big KO style tournament to gather the Omega energy, Impulse has an impulsive idea of why not create his own Flashpoint level event to reset the universe. Thankfully, Wally understands this is a disastrous idea and is going to try and stop him. But will he? I mean, I assume so, but it seems like an interesting point, unquestionably. And with some great covers, it's worth me hopping in on. This might be one of my favorite of the DCKO crossovers in the main title. While I'm excited about Layman's Titans, well, obviously I'm all for miniseries like Night Fight. This one has my attention. And again, many, many wonderful things. Final issue of Green Lantern Dark, that Werther Deladera Elseworlds tale of Green Lantern on FOC this week. We have Harley Quinn crossing over with Fire and Ice and some of the most stunning covers you can imagine for our crazy gal. But a big one, Harley Quinn and Elvira, which you've already FOC'd, is adding blind bags to the mix. There are all sorts of options and artwork you can get with Mark Spears, Chad Harden, Amanda Connor, cover artists who have done the DC book of Harley Quinn, and now we're going to get the Dynamite covers. I am not sure what all is going to be in this blind bag, but I mean, these blind bags have been fun, and I feel Nikki and his team over at Dynamite are not going to disappoint. They're $10 blind bags, but I feel I'm going to go at least for a handful. And it might be worth letting your retailer know because almost every blind bag that has hit stands this year in 2025, I feel every store has sold out on. So get your pre-orders in so you can get the number of blind bags you comfortably want. A lot of fun coming out this week. Another DCKO crossover in the way of Justice League Unlimited. We will have some more with Superman soon. In a very unique non-comic book, Ken, the history and style of an icon, will let you know if you are Knuff. But definitely fun way of learning more about the most unique of toys out there. And, you know, the wonderful other half of Barbie.
I cannot.
You cannot. I like that he came back for that. Todd McFarlane fans, King Spawn hits that big issue number 50. I'm not going to lie, I didn't see it coming. I figured King Spawn had 20, 30 issues tops, but Todd has been barreling forward with the Spawn verse, and it has been great. There are a number of amazing covers on this, including a phenomenal Scotty Young, an amazing Mark Spears, even if it is a 1 in 50, and of course, an Open Order A cover by Todd McFarlane himself. This is going to be great. It will somehow, it seems like, connect with the other big issue number 50s of Spawn Scorched and Gunslinger Spawn. So pay attention to that. And if your store is going big, and this is a big one, reach out to your local comic shop. I don't think a vast majority of stores will be able to order this big, but there is a 1 in 250 Todd McFarlane signed variant and a 1 in 1,000 Todd McFarlane signed and sketched variant. Definitely not something your average store will likely be able to qualify for, but reach out to your store. Let them know these are going to be very expensive books. Very expensive books and not easy to qualify for. So you cannot fault your store if they can't reach those numbers. But if they can, it's worth discussing it with them to see if it's something you are able to order through them and how much it'll be. That is going to be a big one. It is crazy how much Todd has just blown up Spawn over the last year and a half. Well, I guess at this point, several years. But it has also just been amazing because it has pulled this lapsed Spawn reader in wholeheartedly loving all of it. Radiant Black fans, speaking of Spawn and moving in, that Spawn is having that crossover with Rogue Sun in issue 30 that we FOC'd last week. If you're a big fan of the Massiverse, Rogue Sun, Radiant Black, and more, I'm hoping you've already played the incredible Massiverse trading card game. But now there are going to be new starter packs to make it even easier to enter. And each one of these packs has everything that you and your friend need to dive directly into a game. but you can add on by getting those other boxes and expansion packs with even more characters. Reach out to your store to see if they're getting it. Not all stores are going to dive into the world of gaming just because we love Radiant Black, but if they do, this is a fun, very easy entry point to grab a way to play a fun card game. I mean, a done-in-one pack that MSRPs for, I want to say it was $10, but it might be as little as $5. I cannot recall. Definitely reach out to your local comic shop to discuss. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it is $5 per pack. $5 to get a brand new game that you can play instantly and have everything you need in the pack. It's perfect. It's awesome. It is affordable and it is massively awesome. Kyle Higgins, who also has Immortal Legend Batman, his very Radiant Black meets Sentai Warrior version of Batman, also blowing up. So you can get those on order. Then we have the incredible Josh Blaylock's Mercy Sparks issue number 2 on FOC this week. All great connecting covers of Mercy Sparks' daddy issues right there. As you can see, they all connect with the tentacular background. Tim Seeley, that prolific writer that he is, with more and more books on FOC as we scroll through it, has the newest issue of Money Shot, the final issue of Money Shot Big Bang that he co-wrote with actor and comedian Patton Oswalt. There are some mature covers. You can get a hint at what is behind the blind bags right there by clicking, and you get to see a censored version of what will be revealed later. Udon Entertainment, who has been making their way through Lunar, catching everything up with brilliant books like Mega Man, Street Fighter, and Darkstalkers, is finally catching up with some of their manga that was previously solicited through other distributors. You can now order not only Volume 1, but Volume 2 at the same time of More Than a Married Couple, But Not Lovers, and My Stepmom's Daughter Is My Ex. Both interesting situations I am thankful I am not in, but I am curious to read about. And when it comes to these stickers, I have to point this one out because if I had my ideal world, nap all day, sleep all night, party never. I think that right now that is what Kyle is wishing for, probably dozing off screen.
What? I fell asleep. What?
All right.
Also, you party never. Come on. This is the man who I routinely expect to see posting, I'm the last person at the after party at this convention.
It is a reputation I have.
Usually I'm the one just in front of you in the elevator.
Also very true. Yeah.
So, let's talk about party never my butt, okay?
All right. Well, wrapping up a party, Mark Waid's unbelievable New History of the DC Universe number 4 comes to its finale with this week's FOC. And of course, at that point, he hits the Rebirth era, which you can see right there in that wonderful cover by Ryan Sook. But I've been loving all of the issues of this. The first 3 have been phenomenal. They've had great covers that unfortunately made me buy multiple copies of every issue, but I'm not truly complaining. So all sorts of fun to be had there. No Man's Land, continuing on with issue number 2. I loved issue number 1, and I love all of these great movie homages that we have there with Silence of the Lamb and Spies Like Us, which I'm glad it's stated because I thought it was Thing originally. We have the return of the Overstreet Comic Price Guide, which many people were afraid with the situations with Diamond that Gem Publishing, I want to say. Somebody's going to yell at me for screwing that part up. Gemstone Publishing. Thank you, Kyle. Was in question of where these books would come in, but thankfully Lunar has stepped up, and the Overstreet Price Guide, the physical price guide that iconically is used by so many, is back and available with the newest volume, volume 55, finally up for order so you can get it at your local comic shop and know just how much your collection is worth.
This also means the wonderful Overstreet's Access app will continue to be monitored and updated.
That is very good to know. I am very excited about that because I am one of the users of it.
Same.
I know there's one thing you want to talk about. And for that, I'm shocked you don't have the sunglasses to pull. or the
Yeah,
hat
I
wear.
know. I'm angry.
But let's get a little
It's
jazzy.
it's dark. We're in a retired police car and reading comic books. It's ladies and gentlemen, the Return of the Blues Brothers Escape of Juliet Jake. This is a book that I'm pretty excited to read. I'll be honest, I haven't read it yet. I don't know that much about it, other than the fact that you have an Aykroyd writing it.
Yes, Stella Ackroyd, famed writer and director, and the youngest daughter, I believe, of Dan Aykroyd, because I think she was born in 1998 to really make me feel old. A year after this graphic novel takes place, is writing this or co-writing this unbelievable graphic novel. And I mean, if anyone's going to touch the Blues Brothers, it's got to be an Aykroyd.
Yeah, we don't want Jim Belushi doing it, so it's got to be an Aykroyd.
So not only is this amazing book returning to the world of the Blues Brothers, it has a foreword by Dan Aykroyd himself, one of the Blues Brothers. Which remind me, which Blues Brother was Dan Aykroyd?
He was Elwood J. Blues.
Ooh, yeah. Who is the character that is going to team up to track down Jake Blues?
Right. So Joliet Jake is John Belushi, right? And then you have Dan Aykroyd as Elwood J. Blues. These are two guys who. Do I need to go through the whole mythos of the Blues Brothers right now on the air? Like, do we need to do the origin story, like with the Penguin and James Brown, and we're on a mission from God, and all of that kind of stuff, or can we just be like Carrie Fisher with an M16 shooting people in a colder there? Like, where do we need to go with this?
Oh man, I needed that scene refreshed in my brain. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Yes, no, so set roughly 2 decades after the events of the Blues Brothers film, we're back with the Brothers Blue in a very unique new story. Once again, Stella Ackroyd writing it or co-writing it. I mean, who wouldn't be all in on this?
Bob from Bob's Country Bunker. Or if you want to talk about the Blues Brothers 2000, literally any of those guys that get turned into zombies at the voodoo priestess's house in the second one. Also, Illinois Nazis are not going to buy this book. Other people who won't buy this book are people who lived and worked in Chicago when they were shooting the chase scene, or the manufacturers of 1970s and 80s police cruisers.
There it is. All right. So you're already putting a pre-order in for multiple copies at your local comic shop, right, Kyle?
Well, this book is on a mission from God.
There it is. I am hyped on it. So, I should actually hold on before we go back. Red Coat Volume 2. If you're not reading Red Coat, you're missing out on one of the greatest comics out there. And I mean, this involves the infamous return or intros of the Northerner. He's been hinted at throughout the unnamed storyline for a while. He is a big part of Ghost Machine. I cannot wait for issue 15 of Red Coat to get its FOC.
Tune in to Local Comic Shop Day tomorrow to be able to relive the interview that Mathias did with Jeff Johns, where he talks about Red Coat 11, which is in this volume that features the Northerner.
There it is. All right. For those of you Rick and Morty fans, I'm sure you are wishing there were more Rick and Morty episodes already. Don't worry. I'm certain there are more on the way. But the finale to Rick and Morty versus the Universe, issue number 4 of 4 on FOC this week. This has been fun. I enjoy the Rick and Morty books, but a lot of times I really hate to say they're just like, look, it's, kind of side episodes, whatever. This has felt like an event. This feels like whenever you get to the finale of a Rick and Morty season and it has like a way too canon, way too deep episode, that has been Rick and Morty versus the Universe, and I have been loving it. So really fun there. The infamous manga series Rose of Versailles getting collected with fancy new hardcover editions in all 5 volumes in one. The Eisner Award-winning Santos sisters back with a new 10th issue continuing in the story from Greg and Fake, which is a really wonderful kind of like mature Archie tale. Savage Sword of Conan is getting reforged. And what does that mean? It means we're taking the original 1970 Savage Sword of Conan magazines with big name creators like Barry Windsor Smith, John Buscema, and Roy Thomas, and we're adding color to them. And at first, there's a part of me that feels like that's sacrilegious, but then there's that part of me that does think, how cool would that look? 4 issues of this, I am all for it. And just seeing the remastered version of the original cover, I'm going to give it a shot. It seems a little sacrilegious, but it has a lot of potential to be everything and amazing with Conan and Red Sonja back. I'm curious how they pulled that off, but it does look awesome. Another bit of attention I want to point out to an incredible trade paperback is Nicole Main's Secret Six, which was a really fun miniseries, once again featuring Nicole's character from Supergirl, Dreamer. Awesome 6-issue miniseries that does harken back to Gail Simone's awesome Secret Six series, while giving us more of the Dreamer, which I will never say no to. All sorts of fun. Sherlock, Silverhawks, Sisterhood, which is part of the Great Hyde Street, and issue 2 of Skinbreaker, the big hit that blew up this Wednesday as Robert Kirkman and David Finch give us a brand new universe and a brand new ongoing that, who knows, maybe one day could be the next Walking Dead or Invincible. We have a very not traditional Snoopy cover in the way of patches and pins and stickers from the folks over at Silver Sprocket. And a Street Racer one-shot that gives us tales of Racer X and Speed himself. A brand new one-shot on Street Fighter focusing on Guile, who I know is quite a few people's favorite Street Fighter character. Meanwhile, we get reprints of the last 2 issues of Superman. If you weren't aware, they were lead-ins to DCKO, and now the new printings give you that hint to prepare you for the big events of DCKO #1 out in a few short weeks. By the way, reach out to your local comic shop this Saturday to see if they are doing Local Comic Shop Day, where you might get an early look at DCKO via the Local Comic Shop Day exclusive DCKO Ashcan. Then, of course, prepare yourself even further for yet another DCKO tie-in with Superman 31. Ooh, if you didn't read or Superman issue 30 this week with Booster Gold, it was quite the read. Fun one and a unique one in this is Tonga. Some of you might remember Tonga as a character that appeared in a DC miniseries, all sorts of sci-fi fun by Kevin Maguire. But for once, it was not a character that DC actually owned. And Kevin took Tonga and brought her story over to Rocket Ship for more. This is a really fun sci-fi goofiness by Kevin Maguire. Yes, there are kaiju. There is a fun female protagonist who gets in sexy sci-fi Deja Thoris, Barbarella, Red Sonja, and space-esque adventures. And it is awesome with a hardcover and softcover now on FOC. We also have the brand new Terminator Metal #1 on FOC. Declan Shalvey giving us more of the Terminator. A lot of great covers available for that, and I mean a lot. More Toxic Avenger, more Invisible Man, and Warwolf, a new Mad Cave book by Steve Orlando that, I mean, it's what you would think it would be. Let's kill aliens. All right. That is going to wrap up what we're talking about on FOC for Monday, September 29th. Remember to check out prhcomics.com and lunardistribution.com to see all of the amazing books on FOC, because clearly there is even more that you have likely seen that we did not have the chance to talk about. But I think it's time we get to our top 10, because there are some fun ones there. Are there not, Kyle?
There are, this week especially.
All right. Let's start it off with our honorable mention we always like to do. I mean, I said it enough, but I will say it again. David Dismalshin writing Venom needs to be paid attention to. Kevin Eastman doing that awesome cover right there for issue number 3 as the open order cover. This is the co-creator of the Turtles doing Venom. This is a awesome actor and also the brilliant host of Grave Talks. I believe it's or Grave Conversations.
Yes.
This is going to be a fun one. This is everything I want with those black and white, anthologies. So had to be mentioned. But then we get to our top 10, and we started off with Flash 26. Mark Waid returning to Flash, particularly with Impulse, the creation of his own, and a potential new Flashpoint moment for the DC with Impulse Point. Cannot go wrong. This is a DC KO tie-in to pay attention to. Again, Cal Exit. I've been talking it up. I cannot express how amused I am at this second printing cover of Cal Exit number 2. This has already been a brilliant book, but the Sanrio-esque Hello Kitty, buff as can be, rocking that massive gun. You know you're curious what would happen if California exited the United States. Not that I want that to happen, but it's a curiosity you can have fulfilled in a fun way with this comic. Then we get another pumpkin spicy variant, because I've been trying to make sure one of these ends up in the top 10 every week. Completely unintentionally, it's just been happening, much to Kyle's absolute hatred of me. So Frank Cho, go ahead, get it in there.
Some of these make sense. This is one that makes sense to me.
I like it.
Again, I don't necessarily need Nightwing sitting on a pile of pumpkins while wearing booty shorts. That one doesn't necessarily make sense. But you want to turn any of the characters, if you had made Nightwing into a zombie or something like in a Halloween, great, I'm with it. Turning Harley Quinn into a witch makes total sense. That's my gripe with this pumpkin spicy covers, okay?
I agree to disagree, because while I love Harley as a witch, I love Frank Cho's unbelievable designs always with these covers that he does. For me, it doesn't get more pumpkin spicy than Dick Grayson's butt in a pile of pumpkins.
Moving on.
Imperial issue number 4 gives us a hint of how She-Hulk will prove to be the ruler of Sakaar in Planet She-Hulk. And you gotta love Ji Young Lee's unbelievable, very masculine She-Hulk there. I think this is going to be an in-demand cover, as I imagine Planet She-Hulk is going to be an in-demand series, and this is where it starts. Meanwhile, that return to the Blues Brothers, the escape of Juliet and Jake. Kyle, give us the spot. Why is this number 6?
Everybody needs somebody to love. Someone to love. That's my answer to that question. Sorry.
I mean, we're not going to get a Blues Brothers movie 3, sadly. I just don't see it happening, and this is as close as it is, so I'm all for this being in number 6.
Actually.
Of course he would do that to me. We'll come back to Kyle and Blues Brothers information. Was there a Blues Brothers number 3 and I'm forgetting it?
No, they did the Blues Brothers and Blues Brothers 2000. There is a script for a third movie, not starring Dan Aykroyd. Or in the second one, it was John Goodman. Goodman would be back. Yeah, but it would feature the character Buster Blues from Blues Brothers 2000 as the main character.
Very interesting. Okay. We all learned something here. Or everyone learned something. Or everyone...
Also, nobody tell anybody I said that.
Yeah.
I think I just violated an NDA.
Undeadpool number 1. Beautiful cover by E.M. Gist. Eric always does phenomenal jobs with this. I mean, I know his Daredevil 1-in-25 ratio last week was a high demand. But this is an open order bit of Eric's unbelievable artwork. And I think it is just stunning because this man knows how to do horror. Then, No Place. I'm excited about this book. I'm particularly excited about Tim Seeley's incredible cover there because I love that tiger feather. A lot of excitement on this. I think, as Kyle said, Ignition Press is doing it right. Every single one of these books looks amazing. This one definitely seems like a fun one that I hope has a large amount of legs to be a great ongoing series or something that runs and repeats and gets constant revival because it looks fun. Meanwhile,
I have somebody to love stuck in my head now.
we talked about it a few times. The Marvel Rivals classified covers. Look, all new Spider-Gwen already is getting my love each and every issue from Stephanie Phillips. But these Marvel Rival books have been drawing people in. People love this video game on a volume that I hate to say far exceeds comics. So that means they're coming into comic shops to get these Marvel Rivals tie-ins. Some of you even had download codes for Marvel Rivals. Well, I don't believe any of these covers will. The fact that these are classified as opposed to simply the artwork is not yet uploaded, which we've seen on PRH. That is not what this is. They are classified. Leads me to believe these could be reveals for new skins or playable characters in Marvel Rivals. And that, will draw the attention and demand of not only the Marvel Rivals players, but video game press that will end up talking about these, revealing these, and drawing more attention, sending more people to comic shops, hopefully your local comic shop, which will have great sales, but also means you need to pre-order if you want to guarantee one of these. And hopefully, once again, you put this in front of your Marvel Rivals playing friends who might not already be watching the show. They become aware of it and they place a pre-order with their shop so they can get these awesome new covers as they're revealed. I can only fathom what it could be. Maybe we get to see. I don't know if Spider-Gwen's playable in this. I mean, maybe she is. Maybe she gets a new skin. Maybe it's something completely crazy and new.
Maybe she's just the word classified.
It would be humorous if they were all literally those covers. They all just said classified. All right. Actually, it wouldn't. Marvel, please never listen to me. Don't do that. Do not do that, Marvel. David, please. All right. Cloak and Dagger #1, the cover that makes even Kyle consider picking up an Age of Revelation book. Ivan Talavera has been hitting it with cover after cover. He was the big demand for all those giant size X-Men anniversary one-shots. Everyone's been loving Ivan Talavera. And I mean, once again, combined with the incredible best-selling author, Justina Ireland, this is a book I need to own, and I am certain I am not alone. This will be a high demanded book. And I hate to say, I fear it'll be an under-ordered book. So something to consider for retailers and ordering managers, something to consider if you want to guarantee you have that incredibly delightful Ivan Talavera cover or the opportunity to read Justina's amazing new series. Get your pre-orders in before Monday.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a thing. This is one of those titles that's routinely underordered and routinely better than people think it will be.
Yeah. So let's talk about the big one. Scotty Young doing Spawn. I believe this is his third, maybe fourth time doing a Spawn cover, but I can tell you, there is not a Scotty Young Spawn cover that isn't at minimum double digits. It's Scotty Young. Everyone loves him. Everyone loves him. And Spawn fans are fanatical. Spawn variants are rare. Scotty Young Spawn is the perfect combination on this issue 50 of King Spawn. And I love seeing Spawn on his throne of skulls there with the cape wrapped elegantly around all of them. This is going to be an in-demand, hot cover. I am excited to order it. I am excited to own it. I cannot wait to read it too, but this cover is going to be a big one. I mean, I would be shocked if any of your stores out there, for those of you watching, still have any of the Scotty Young Spawn covers in stock that aren't copies that were repurchased later and priced up. I don't think anyone still has their original copies that were ordered on New Comic Book Day for the various Spawn titles with Scotty Young. They are that highly sought after and in demand. All right. So, Kyle, that was our books for FOC this Monday, September 29th. Well, you guys are all getting your orders in. What else can they be watching on this week with the EXP?
Well, coming up tonight at 7, you've got Nikki's original art show. He's got some incredible cover recreations that Bob Layton did. Then we have Friday Night Live with Nancy McCann from Comics Unlimited at 9 o'clock. And then starting at 6 a.m. in the morning, you can watch me try and hold my eyelids open for 24 hours, basically. We will have local comic shop day, the giant size mega cast here on the EXP for local comic shop day starts at 6 a.m. with Inaki, I think that's how you say it, and Roy Miranda, who are doing Arcadia coming up from Ignition Press. We've got David Byrne from AMP. We've got, let me go over and just look at the schedule. We've got David Byrne from AMP. We have Marvin Wynn from Comicsburg. We've got Carl Choi from 24/7 Comics. Lee Heidel from Neighborhood Comics in Savannah, Georgia. We have 2 different Torma appearances from Oni Press. We'll have Trish Forstner from Feral and Stray Dogs, along with Tone Rodriguez from Feral, live from Dreamers and Make Believers here in Baltimore. We'll have Tommy Donovan from Richmond Comics. Brian Garside from Earth 519 and Managed Comics will be at Jen King, and we'll be with Jen King at Space Cadets Collection in Houston, Texas, where she will be talking to Joshua Starnes, also from AMP. We will have the world streaming debut of Shopping for Superman, which is a documentary about the direct market that just won Best Film at the San Diego Comic-Con Film Festival, as well as an introduction and live Q&A with West Easton, the director. Then, following that is the panel that I'm most excited for. I shouldn't say that, but I am. I don't care. Wes and I are co-hosting a history class with Nancy McCann from Comics Unlimited, Joe Field, and Jeremy Shore, where we're going to let them tell stories from their combined, I don't know, like century and a half of comic book retail experience. So that will be fun. Then we go to a Comics Place Presents with Django Boren and Jeff Figley and maybe some other guests where they will be reviewing books that were out this week. It's a regular podcast that they do for their shop at Comics Place. Then following that, we will have the Data Bros. Jeff, Django, and Brian Garside will rejoin us, where they will talk about the data of the comic book business. How we count things these days. Following that, we'll have Hector Rodriguez from Chispa Comics, that's now part of the AMP Comics lineup, talking about The Dusk, which is a book that's out tomorrow at Local Comic Shop Day by Alex Segura. N.D. Stevenson from HarperCollins, Fred Van Lente, Jason Blanchard from Recca Publishing, and more. But several times throughout the day, you'll see that guy talking to creators you've seen here on the show. So, tune in for all of that. To answer Unknown Comics' question, no, because shops exist outside of America. It's noon in Spain when we talk to the Miranda brothers, and they're in Spain. Their local comic shop is Eisner Award-winning comic shop, Akira Comics, which will be open live during the day. So we're not just covering America. We're covering the whole world, man. That's why we're doing 24 hours.
Man, I will ship you cases of energy drink because you're going to need them. But the cool thing is I will get to see you throughout the day in my comic shop, and hopefully your local comic shop is participating in Local Comic Shop Day and will also be hosting events in there. It is definitely something to present to your local comic shop if they're not already aware of this stream, that it is something they can be airing so that you can all be watching live, hopefully, in your local comic shop. Because the biggest thing I want to emphasize, if you guys are watching this live or at all today, go to your local comic shop day tomorrow, September 27th. Support them, whether they're doing a local comic shop day or event or not.
Right.
Support your local comic shop tomorrow. It is the best time to do it. Although that can be said of every day. Every day is a good day to support your local comic shop because comics and community are awesome. And the community at your local comic shop is what makes comics work for you.
Absolutely. We will be on shop. We will be live in shops as well. So when you head into your local comic shop, if they have a TV, make sure we're on. And if we're not, like, withhold your money until they turn us on or something. Spend it anyway, but like be like, hey, you should put this on the TV. Anyway, so tune in tomorrow. It's going to be nuts.
All right. Thank you all for watching, and we'll be back next Friday with another incredible guest and more comics on FOC.